In a number of spiritual paths, your deeper questions might find answers in a session in the pastor's study. You're looking for something more, so let's offer you something different.
Merry meet and blessed be. I'm Iden Odinson, and welcome to another session in a very different pastor's study. I decided to be in the chapel for this one. Combination of for the heck of it, partly because getting to know the equipment and partly because of what I've chosen for a subject today. We need to talk about that issue known as hell, which we've all heard about, and a lot of us have been told that we might wind up going there. As a matter of fact, I remember the George Burns movie, Oh God, You Devil, and George Burns is the devil. Tries to convince this guy that the only people that God's getting anymore are a few priests and cleaning ladies. Well, yeah, it is the ultimate form of spiritual blackmail. And certain preachers of various paths offer it as the only alternative to marching in lockstep on their path. As a matter of fact, you find one preacher on one street corner in one particular church saying his path is the only path. You go down the block to another one and his path is the only path. And I wonder what will happen if they ever meet. Are they going to claim each other's going to go? I really wonder. And please don't think that the Christians have an exclusive on this. This type of fanaticism can be found in most paths, one way or another. And often, it begins early on, when we're Sunday school age. I remember in Sunday school, Mrs. Broadbean talking about the various things that I'd better not do. Some things that seemed very innocent at the time. And let's not forget the people who make the extra rules. The most spectacular one of which I remember a young lady who told me about the time she attempted suicide when she was 10 years old. Do you know how she attempted suicide when she was 10 years old? She ate meat on a Friday. According to some people that talked to her, that was supposed to kill her. That was supposed to... She was expecting flames to come up and all sorts of other stuff. Yeah. In fact, I'm convinced that a lot of people who are either atheists, agnostics, or, as a matter of fact, Satan worshippers. They get that way, especially the Satan worshippers, because they're convinced there's no way to make it according to the rules that they've been given. Isn't it wonderful that all these people can go around proclaiming things in God's name, whatever God it is? Hey, I've heard them do it in the name of Krishna, Allah, a few others. But let's take a look at hell and what it is. The name hell comes from the Norse. Only it had one L. And it was cold. And it was simply the place where the dead people went to rest between lives. That was all. there were a few alternatives, one of which was a set of halls in Asgard, Folkvangr, Valhalla, and a few others for people who had distinctions. You've heard doubtlessly of Valhalla. Folkvangr was another. There was another for poets. Quite a number of them. And then, of course, there was something set aside specially for the worst of the worst. By the worst of the worst, there were three specifically mentioned in the ancient writings: oath breakers, thieves, and spouse stealers. Interesting thing, though. A thief meant somebody who stole something from, like, a neighbor or a relative or somebody by whom you would have an oath. Now, going over in a longship to England or France or someplace and raiding a village, as long as nobody was there that you were oath-bound to, so what? No. The thieves that they were talking about were people that stole from people that they were oath-bound to, like a neighbor. And if you take a look at spouse stealing, you realize spouse stealing amounts to getting another person to break an oath that they've taken. So it's all oath breaking. Just a couple of specialized forms plus the general version. The Greeks, they had some special punishments to fit special crimes, like what happened to the man who invited the gods and goddesses to a banquet, and he didn't bother to tell them that his own son was the entree. And the Christians. Now here's something, and I mention it quite often, including in my Mass for the Shutout in honor of Tempest Smith. Matthew 12:31. The Christians' own Bible, their own gospel, where Yeshua says that all sins and blasphemies will be forgiven, except one. And he said that in the context of some Pharisees accusing him of using a devil to cast out devils. Well, Christians seem to remember the business about a house divided against itself cannot stand, but they forget about what he said about blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. And I think we can take that and figure out what the implications are for somebody who says that the roots of another spiritual path are rooted in something evil. Oh, that's well and good, but what does it mean for us, you and me, going about our daily business? Well, for the overwhelming majority of us, karma lets us make payments on our debts while we're still in a position to make payments. So that's the good side of karma. Even the good side of not so good karma. The others, the big ones, they're lines that we don't dare cross. But you know what? Those biggies can be avoided And all you need to do to avoid them is to give other people the respect that you'd like to be given. Treat other people the way you'd like to be treated. That's all. And then you've avoided the issue. At least pretty much. Combination of that and building your own relationship with the divine. And with that, all this other stuff that people make such fuss and bluster over, you can put it in its perspective because you're going to be building something that's not a part of. Yeah, it's there for those who deserve it. But I don't think we do. And that should be about all of those kind of rules that we need. I might, blessed be.
Uriel's Gifts and the Secrets in Plain Sight are sponsored by the Temple of Gaia. At Temple of Gaia, we don't train you to our path. We show you how to find and pursue your own path. Above all, we tried to provide a great place to come together and to share. We're located in Collingdale, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia, and wherever cyberspace can be reached. To learn more, visit our website at templeofgaiainc.org or our meeting place in cyberspace at templeofgaia.ning.com. Thank you for coming. Feel free to return at any time. We intend to always have something for you here. Blessed be. This has been a presentation of the Wise Ones Net. Merry part and blessed be.